Hi, my name is Dia Abalash, and I am in grade 11 at Sullivan Heights Secondary. From kindergarten and preschool till about grade 1, I attended a Christian private school, and although I don't remember much from my time there, it was a pleasant experience overall. And I later moved to a public school called Chalmers Elementary, and it was just more convenient for me to go there, so it was closer to my house, so I just ended up going in public schools for the rest of my life since then. My parents wanted me to go to a private school, but honestly, I just wasn't really interested. And when I was going into high school, I had the option to switching to a private school, which I did consider. So a lot of my time pre-high school was spent thinking about what school I should go to after I graduate elementary school. So, and that's kind of coming back. I'm kind of reflecting on those decisions as now I'm choosing what college to go to, what courses to pursue, what job to pursue. I decided to make my topic reflecting off of an experience that I have right now. So for my capstone, I chose to do a research paper on private versus public schools and which type of schooling would be more advantageous for a student to attend or for a parent to send a student to. So originally this research paper was an unbiased piece, but with a conclusion that reflects on my personal opinion and what I think is quote unquote better. But as the time went on, I realized it's hard to come to a conclusion about a topic that's quite open-ended and personalized because the decisions are made based on what your circumstances are. On the research paper itself, because it is quite formal, I chose to keep it purely my findings, my research. I used quite a bit of other scholarly resources, and I also did some interviews, as you'll see later on this presentation, because I wanted to incorporate some of my own research into this project as well. And I also didn't include that in my research paper as I thought it would be more appropriate, as it was a little bit more informal. I thought it would be more appropriate to include it into this video. So, and this is also a good opportunity to tie into the second portion, as I just mentioned, my interviews. So I chose to do an interview process where I wrote some specific questions, and with their permission, I recorded my classmates or other people, my acquaintances, and they just answered the questions that I gave them related to private or public schools, because I have a lot of friends that attend either private, public, or both, and I wanted to include some of my own research into this. So using available online sources such as statistics, scholarly research papers, and personal recounts as well, this paper examines the pros and cons of both public and private schools to come to a certain judgment. As we all know, school is an important portion of a child's development, their life, their social skills, and also their knowledge development. But what type of schooling really benefits them really depends on the students themselves. So parents always want what's best for their children. So this paper explains all the factors and all the advantages and disadvantages of certain elements that come with private and public schools. One of the biggest factors is cost. Private schools charge tuition for their students to attend their school, and public schools do not. So this could be a major deciding factor in a household's decision to send a student to a certain school, as not every household can afford to spend money on education, and a public choice is much more accessible for them. Now, the next couple of interviews examines all the factors that are included in the research paper, but in a more personalized sense based on the people that I'm interviewing, their point of view.
Hi, my name is Manisha, and today I will be helping Dia with her capstone project.
Do you go to a public or a private school?
I currently go to a public school, and I have never attended a private school.
So, a complaint that teachers often give to public schools is the class size, because the class size tends to be bigger and there's less individualized attention, right?
Yes.
So do you sometimes think you don't get the necessary attention that you need from teachers in order to succeed?
I've always been independent, and I haven't really always been so reliant on teachers for support, but I feel that if you need to have someone to talk to, I feel like in public schools I have had that opportunity, just because there's always EAs and support teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but just your normal teacher as well.
From this perspective of a student, do you think public schools are underfunded?
I feel like a lot of public schools, they do their own funding and stuff, supporting and stuff. feel like with education, anyone can having those extra funds and supports and fundraising can always help. Having extra money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sure what we can add to our own school, but I know to other schools, like some schools don't have ultimate teams or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But being inclusive in that sense is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But also just more so having opportunities.
Right.
Just makes it more diverse. But luckily at our school, we have lots of opportunities to do what we want to do.
Do you think they have more pressure to do better?
Yeah, I think they do.
Yeah.
I think anyone does. Also, it also comes into psychology, basically how you are nature and your nurture.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of ties into how you view things. So just the environment and your influences more so.
Mm-hmm. Right.
My name is Parney. I'm in grade 10, and I'm a student at Sullivan Heights, and I went to a private school for about 5 years.
Right. So a huge unspoken advantage of private school is that it's better prepared for post-secondary. So although you only attended private elementary school, do you think private school compared to your time so far in public school better prepared you for higher studies, whether it be secondary or post-secondary?
Well, I think definitely the school has prepared me a lot better for higher studies because the school I went to was very, I wouldn't say underfunded, but they were they didn't care about their kids in a way. It was more of I'm higher than you type of situation with the teacher and student. So I didn't think we got that many learning opportunities when it came to things.
Okay. So academic-wise, was the private school curriculum more difficult compared to what you have now?
Well, no, I'd honestly say it was easier because our school didn't really care about us, right? Every private school is different in a way, but this private school I went to, they definitely, I could tell they did not really care about our education. And in the end, when I came here, I knew almost nothing.
How was the workload?
A lot more.
A lot more.
Yeah. It was that's the reason my parents put me there, because they're oh, public school doesn't give you homework. I would literally come home and have to do homework for about 6-7 hours, and they'd be oh no, it should only take you 45 minutes. I just wanted to learn how to read and write my mother tongue. That's it.
Adding on to that, do you agree with the concept of private schools being more advantageous for students?
Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because in the end, the students should get the same opportunities, if you're public or private. Because in the end, some people can't afford going to private schools, right? I was lucky enough that my parents could afford it. However, they didn't give me that many opportunities to do many other things. But that's only elementary. If we're talking about private high schools, I feel they do get a lot more connections to higher schools. I feel my public school experience is a lot better. My private school experience was very, very bad. I don't know if it was the private school I went to, but it was horrible. And it's I feel here I've been able to be more open, while there was a religious contented school. So they're oh, you have to follow these views. You have to follow the Gurbani, the Bhat, or whatever they have, right? The religious books. While here, you're more open to be who you want to be.
Do you believe that private school kids have a better outcome after high school?
Well, it depends on the kid's experience, right? Or depends on the private school life of the kid.
Do you think going to a reputable school boosted any opportunities in life?
Well, my school isn't very reputable. It's one of the worst schools out there.
Yeah.
Didn't boost many opportunities.
These are just some of the many elements explored in my research paper, and I suggest giving it a read, as it is a more in-depth discussion of everything that was mentioned in the video and a couple more elements and factors that can help with the deciding of this topic, private or public schools. So the research process contained a lot of reading and other scholarly resources and studies conducted by universities and centers, and the research also included personal factors like the interview. So overall, I just suggest giving the paper a read. This capstone project is one that challenged me quite a lot and pushed me out of my comfort zone, mainly in that I had to contact a lot of other people in order to get access to readings. I also had to contact people in order to get their information and their knowledge on their experiences of private schools or public schools, as that was part of my capstone, the interviews. And the writing process itself was also extremely challenging. I talked a lot about this with my parents, and I usually write essays, short stories, and I've kind of gotten accustomed and comfortable with writing those, so I felt like I needed to challenge myself by writing a more in-depth research paper, which is why I chose to do this format of capstone. So overall, this capstone really stretched my writing capabilities, and in my opinion, improved my writing, although the process itself was quite challenging. The interviews are also something that I really haven't done for any project, really. So I was really proud of the way that I could arrange them. And it was just such a big project. I'm just proud of being able to do it all. And I would say it's one of the most valuable parts of my project. The most valuable part of my project would, however, have to be my writing itself, because I put so much effort into the writing to produce the best material that I could, and writing is just something that I really enjoy doing. So this project overall was really rewarding, and it was an experience that I enjoyed having. And I realized through this project that I'm capable of taking on such big and challenging projects. There have been times in my life where I put off showing my full capabilities due to the process being quite intimidating, or because I was scared to be disappointed in myself with the final product. But I'm glad I took on this project, as I realized with the amount of work that I do for myself and for my education, I'm truly capable of this and bigger projects in the future as well. And that is an overview of my capstone project. Thank you for listening.